It was a day that I will always remember. It was spring. I just remember thinking, I wish that this could last forever.
I think the greatest memory I have is about 3 days after the baby came home. And it was just me and her. And I held her, and she was mine.
There was nothing that was quite as wonderful for me as just hanging out with my friends. It was really terrific. And I really miss those guys.
What's your happiest memory?
Oh, I just try not to think about things like that because nothing can last forever anyway. Can it?
You know, no one made me feel bigger or more loved than my grandpa. It's too bad some things can't last forever.
My happiest memory is when we were just so close. Whereas now it's just, this distance and so many things in the way. But then it was so clear. It was so uncluttered and uncomplicated. And it was close. Gosh, I long for that. Oh.
So, where do you think our happiest memories come from?
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it's in the family. It's either the family you grew up in, the family you're raising now, even if you're single. It's the family you hope to have someday. And it's interesting, that all the evils in the world seem to be aimed at destroying the family, the one greatest source of happiness in the world. But that all happens so subtly.
What do you mean?
Well, nobody starts out thinking, what can I do to ruin my family today? It's, I don't know, it just kind of sneaks up on you. Like in my case, for example, I got my priorities pretty mixed up.
How'd that happen?
Well, it started out just trying to provide nicely for my family. But little by little, I started wanting to make more and more money until I became consumed with this idea. And obviously, to make more and more money, you've got to spend more time at work. And the more time you spend at work, the more recognition you get, the more successful you feel. And in fact, I'd come home late sometimes, and my wife would give me that look, like, where have you been, look? And I'd usually respond by saying something like, hey, what's the matter with you? The only reason I'm doing all this is for you. Which wasn't really true. I mean, it wasn't just for them. It was mostly for me. All the recognition, success. And that is exactly what makes it so subtle.
Are you giving the least to those who matter most? Or are you sharing your best with those who really aren't that close? Well, it's time to turn around and find out where your greatest joys are found.
It seems to me that any father wants to provide for his family.
Well, of course, but there's just so much more to providing for your family than just earning the money. They need love and patience and time together. But believe me, when you're caught in that work syndrome and you finally come home, the last thing you want to give is love and patience. And what starts to happen is your family begins to look at you as this grumpy old guy who works all the time. And all you can think about is, why don't they appreciate me like the people I work with? And your wife gets a little disappointed because you don't have enough time to help with the family. And that usually leads to, she doesn't understand me. And that usually leads to, not like the women at the office understand me. And pretty soon the women at the office start looking better and better. And your family looks worse and worse. And before you know it, boom, you've lost everything.
Do you listen with love when someone's soul is aching? Or do you simply choose which judgment you'll be making? Well, it's time to turn around and find out where your greatest joys are found.
So how do you prevent this from happening?
Well, in my case, I just needed to learn how important my own family was to me. I needed a whole new perspective, a spiritual perspective. And that involved learning more about the purpose of life,
the plan, for lack of a better word, and what role my family played in that plan. You see, our Father in heaven knows where real happiness can be found for us right now. And it's not in the boardroom, it's not in the bonus check. And I know for a fact that those things bring temporary happiness and satisfaction, but it's something more than that. It's seeing your family reach their greatest potential. It's seeing everybody work together and help each other. You know, if God's priorities are His family, which is all of us, and His happiness comes from loving His family, then that should tell me where my happiness should come from and where my priority should be.
If you don't know where to turn,
And it was just that simple.
listen to your heart and you will learn. Yes, listen to your heart and you will learn.